Four sides of the ring. Four sides of the ring. Everybody out here got an opinion. Your ego shall die in the ring. If the debate's getting heated, we heating. You know it's been fire in the ring. We them guys in the ring. Leave with your pride in the sling. Four sides of the ring. Four sides of the ring. Everybody out here got an opinion. Your ego shall die in the ring. If the debate's getting heated, we heating. You know it's been fire in the ring. We them guys in the ring. Leave with your pride in the sling. Four sides of the ring.
Welcome back to another episode of Four Sides of the Ring. It's your boy, Chana, whoever you need me to be. And the boy's back. He's been gone for a month now. My man's been putting steady hours at the workplace, spending an hour after hour after hour to take care of him and his. Welcome back to the stage. The one that makes you say, fuck, it's him again. Knit Ram.
Yo.
How we doing today, brother?
I have a day off today. It's been good.
Listen, man, you've been putting in pain at the workplace.
Yeah, it's been nonstop.
Have you been keeping up with wrestling at all?
Oh no, I watch wrestling while I work. I'm a supervisor. I chill in the office.
You hear my man? He's a delinquent. All right, bringing on the next man to the stage, Mikey Cutlets. Welcome to the stage, brother. How we doing today?
What's good, ladies and gentlemen? I mean, I guess today I'm Step Bro Mike. It kind of goes in line with the theming of tonight. What are you doing, Step? Anyway, I'm doing great. I hope you guys are all doing fantastic. It's a Thursday. Tomorrow's Friday. And congratulations, Sailor. You made it to another episode of Four Sides of the Ring.
Aye. And last but not least, the man was missing last week because he went through several back doors, got backdoored, or there was just something in the workplace. I don't know. He is the last keeper of gaping, back doors. What was it? Kayfabe? What was it? What was it? I think it was the last keeper of kayfabe, Tino Sanchez. How we doing today, brother?
Hello, everyone. I have returned. Hell of an intro. I swear, every time we're on, bro, I always get a little nervous. I'm like, if I'm last, then it's not the proper intro that I'm looking for. I'm like, okay, first we hit Nitran, and we got Mike. And I'm like, oh, okay, I'm gonna get hold of it. It's all good, but I am back. Yes, my apologies for my absence from last week. I am back. Since the last time I was here, a shit ton of wrestling went down. It's a lot to talk about. And I'm glad to be back with the boys. I missed y'all. What's going on?
Listen, I'm glad you said we've noticed your absence. You know what I mean? But listen, I dedicated the first 5-6 the first 6 minutes of last week's episode solely to you. So I hope you saw it and enjoyed it. Because I hope you enjoyed getting violated on camera as much as I love belting it. You know what I mean? But like I always say, if I'm not violating if I'm ever nice to Tino, just know your boy's in trouble. I'm on the run and I can't talk, right? Like I need to, and like I'm on the move and I gotta let people know in a discreet manner, like, yo, Tino, you're my guy. I love you, brother. Just know that. Buzzer. Buzzer, press the red button. I am in trouble. So yes,
somebody call somebody.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ludi, hello.
Yeah. So that is what I do. So yeah, listen, it is what it is. We back with another action-packed week of wrestling. A lot of things happened. What it do, my Dukes? A lot of things happened. We got some world title changes. We got a wrestler's last dead to rights with Austin Theory and Maxine Dupree, because if this doesn't work for either one of them, I don't know, dog. You know what I mean?
What do you mean for either one of them?
I feel like they both on the thing. You know
That's
what I mean?
it.
I feel like
They're on the chopping block channel.
I feel like Austin Theory has been on the bubble for a while, and you paired him with Paul Heyman, and I feel like if this doesn't work with Paul, what necessarily can you do? We probably got a phone call. A minute, Ram will be back momentarily.
Oh,
hey, it's the voice of God. Oh my God, it's Marcus Hernandez, the founder. He had blessed us.
I don't know what happened in the room.
happy I wore underwear today if the founder's in attendance.
Facts.
What I will say though, just really quick, since you touched on Maxine and Theory, I am interested. I am interested on it. So it's got me hooked so far. Heyman giving Theory the cold shoulder. Theory and Maxine kind of doing that little surprise to secure the tag team belts. I'm interested in where this goes. I'm kind of leaning towards maybe Theory turning on the division at some point, just because I feel like the whole story is Heyman only is really there for Braun, and the other guys are just kind of there. And Heyman really wants no part of them, even though they tag champions. He has his eyes on main event guys. Not no disrespect, but nobody in the mid card is who he's interested right now. So if they play the story right, Theory and Maxine could be a big thing, I feel like.
I have a question for this is for Mike and for NetRam, because you guys may remember better than I can. Has Paul Heyman ever been part of a successful faction where multiple people get off?
Dangerous Alliance.
Did he name the members?
I mean,
not off the top of the dome,
because I want to,
because
because even
shit for that.
Because even with the bloodline, right? Like clearly Roman was the guy that got elevated, and through Roman, the Usos got that bump. But it's not like it's not like Heyman was elevating Jimmy and Jay. You know what I mean? They just happen to be part of the bop.
So I mean, looking at it with the Dangerous Alliance, WCW, you had Steve Austin, Arn Anderson, Rick Rude, Medusa. Those are
wasn't Arn already
specialties? Arn's a four horseman.
Yeah, he's already established. This was before he was Stone Cold, right?
Mm-hmm. This was before he was Stone Cold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's hard because he didn't really pop until the King of the Ring tournament. You know what I mean? So I can't even. You can kind of say he kind of made himself. You know what I mean? So I want to say this isn't necessarily Theory's fault, but I was watching an interview. I think it was a Theory interview that he said, "I feel like Theory will go better as a babyface." But for whatever reason,
that way.
And they kept booking him as a heel. It's kind of like Solo in a sense. You know what I mean? Solo's meant to be the comedy mid-card king, but instead he's forced into main event picture sometimes. It's just an odd fit for my boy. NetRam, do you remember a situation where a manager, let's not even just do Paul Heyman, a manager has gotten multiple people off in a faction?
Don Callis.
Oh, next. I'm not entertaining
that tonight.
I'm not entertaining that. That is honestly ridiculous. That is, you know what? I'm entertaining. I have to entertain that nonsense.
He's back. It's his first week back.
Yeah, I got to entertain it. You've been back after a while. Kyle Fletcher got himself over organically as hell. You know what I mean? Okada, we don't have to touch that at all. Kenny Omega, don't have to touch that at all. Who else is in the Don Callis family that's relevant? Kevin Knight got himself over. Takeshita
got himself over.
Yeah, kind of got himself over. I promise you.
In the family, though,
Don is not getting anybody over, dog.
The only person Don is getting over is himself and the artist that does those paintings.
My boy Shannon. Yes, he has a great point. The Don Callis family and the other 12 members that you don't see on a week-to-week basis are not over, dog. You know what I mean? I don't care who has a national championship. I forget that it's an actual belt sometimes.
Andrade, dare I say, got himself over by a few different ways. One of them being stripping, the other one being just by saying, "How you know? How you know? How you know? How you know?
How you know?" He was a little overdressed last night, I will say. It was.
I know he was hot. I know he was hot.
How you know?
You know what I mean? So it's hard to be like, oh yeah, like Don got these people over. No, these people got over organically as hell. You know what I mean? Because if you look at the Don Callis family, how we doing? Andrade as a face, we'll touch that in 2 seconds. Let me get the start off. Because you know what I mean? In this faction, nobody's like hates the faction members of the Don Callis family. You know what I mean? The members are fine. We just don't like Don Callis individually. Yeah. Even when he hands people when Don Callis holds the screwdriver, it's like, fuck you, Don Callis. But the moment like the other person holds the screwdriver is like, yeah, jam him in his eye. You know what I mean? the faction doesn't have heat. Don Callis has heat. So that's my TED talk with that.
Okay, I got it though.
All right.
Bobby the Brain Heenan's family was pretty much all stars.
I'll give you
talk
that.
about it. Give me the members.
You got Andre the Giant. We'll start with that.
Eighth wonder of the world. Okay.
I mean, you don't need no more than that. But I mean,
you had Mr. Perfect, Rick Rude, King Kong Bundy, Harley Race, Big John Studd, and Nick Braunwinkle.
Does Harley Race even count? Because he was lit before then. You know what I mean?
Okay, but the other ones.
Listen, that's it.
What about Team Angle for Paul Heyman?
With Shelton and Haas?
Yeah, I mean that's Team Angle.
It's my favorite tag team.
Shelton got over, but was it because of the? I'm talking about factions with a manager, not just factions in general.
Paul Heyman managed Team Angle.
Did he really?
I mean, I can hit you with the
2002 to 2003.
Oh my god!
What did this man do?
I'll give you Shelton. I won't give you Charlie Haas.
Can I make an argument here, though?
That's fair.
Go ahead.
Say Ric Flair was the manager for Evolution?
He wrestled. No. My man.
I'm gonna hit you with an out of left field. You ready? Captain Lou Albano. All right. Fabulous Moolah, Adrian Adonis, Pat Patterson. We're talking Jimmy Superfly Snuka, Greg Valentine, Andre the Giant, Ivan Koloff, George the Animal Steel, Nikolai Volkov, Don Morocco. He also managed the U.S. Express, the Blackjacks, the British Bulldogs, the Head Shrinkers, the Mongols, the Wild Samoans, and Mr. Fuji and Mr. Sato.
You know how
Hall of Famers. So.
You know how this conversation is getting problematic. We're naming people that half the members I don't recall who the hell they are,
and they're all dead.
Yeah, you know what I mean. I don't know who. I'm a non-go. Yeah, that's great. I have
another one. JJ Dillon.
Oh,
who? JJ Dillon. The Four Horsemen.
Oh my god, bro.
Hey man.
I mean, I feel like Rick.
I've been talking to Taino too much. I'm sorry.
Ric Flair made the Four Horsemen better than
this. Tano is not enjoying this topic right now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we can't wait to bring you this week's episode of Mark Your Calendar, where we go all the way back to 1885.
Jesus Christ! All right, Nitram, get your piece off, brother.
I was going to say, I think the Paul Heyman thing with Theory is that originally when Paul Heyman introduced Theory, he said, I have the plan. I see the vision for him. And I think what it happens in a character aspect, Paul Heyman doesn't manage the wrong guys. You know what I mean? Paul Heyman has a resume of guys that are Paul Heyman guys that do great, minus Curtis Axel. And, you know, you're wrong on that one. But I think it's to the point where he's so disappointed in his guys, where he's kind of like, yeah, you guys are my guys, but I might have been wrong. And it's why he gives Theory such a hard time, where he's like, somebody accomplished something today, but it was her. You know what I mean? Not Braun, who also won the match. It was Maxine. So I think Paul Heyman is hitting that sense where, yeah, I was wrong on these guys. You know what I mean? And in a character aspect, that's not Paul Heyman's thing to do. Because immediately after that, he went and boasted for Brock Lesnar because he's never been wrong about Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
Listen, that's fair. That's a fair assessment. Paul has never missed on a guy minus Curtis Axel. But at the same time, there's too many guys in his faction who are unsure. You know what I mean? Bronson Reed. Let me get this thought off. Let me get this thought off, and I got you. Bronson Reed, great guy, misutilized. Being in this faction does not really help him at all. Beat Roman Reigns one-on-one, did absolutely nothing with that afterward. You know what I mean? Braun Breaker on an absolute tear. They did not pull the trigger on Raw day one, and then he dealt with that injury, and then he interfered at Mania with Seth and Gunther, which was a great match, and then he lost a feud with Seth. So he's on a downward spiral. You know what I mean? Austin Theory. listen, I'm a big Theory guy. Remember Channel Theory, but Channel whoever you need me to be. But at the same time, Theory's been on he needed anything. And with these guys coming in and out the faction, him losing Logan Paul, Bronson Reed still out, Braun Breaker's doing the single mixed tag team thing. He had Maxine. Honestly, I think the winner for this whole situation is Maxine because you get away from Otis and Tozawa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So she finally gets to do something serious outside of comedic role, which is, don't get me wrong, it's great when you see it, but at the same time, nobody sees Tozawa and goes, that's a real character right there. Uber talented, but as a wrestling character, nobody's buying tickets for Tozawa, dog. I'm not gonna hold you. And Otis, I love him to death. Great talents. Just ultimately, she needed to separate herself from them. So that's how that works. Tano, wrap this up because I do want to talk about Andrade being a babyface now.
No, yeah. I was just gonna reiterate from earlier. I co-sign everything you said, man. But as I mentioned earlier, I am excited to see where this goes. The injury bug did hurt the division faction these last few months since the new year. However, again, excited to see where this goes, man. Maybe they play on Maxine and Theory's relationship as they've been doing, something where a Theory has to choose between Maxine and Division. And you could see something, kind of happen with that. So this is something that I am interested in. That's one faction in WWE that has my attention. So I just wanted to say that.
I just want to say,
go ahead.
This is it. I promise. I'm done.
No, you go.
Two things. I've just been sitting on it. Is Curtis Axel the first ever participant continued to be in a Royal Rumble that was arrested while still being in a Royal Rumble as well? The other second thing I was going to say was, I noticed that when we have, the women, and they pair up with the men, like we saw Rhea and Dom, right? Rhea and Dom, I don't think ever kissed on camera. Rhea would like lick his face or whatever. Maybe that's objectively a little bit worse. I don't know. But these two kissed, and Liv and Dom have kissed, knowing that like Maxine is married and whatever. I thought that was interesting. I don't know why that's been in my brain for like the last 4 days, but I noticed that between like the last 3 times we've seen women involved in like major men's storylines, like, you know what I mean? I don't know. There's a nothing burger there. Back to you, Chano, in the studio.
No, listen, you're not wrong. It hasn't happened a lot over the years, but now it's happening super recently. Yeah. I just think guy-girl dynamics are hard when they're heels, especially since you have Liv and Dom right there, and then Dom's coming off him and Rhea. The thing about Dom and Liv, they brought a different dynamic outside of Dom and Rhea. You know what I mean? Rhea was mommy, so obviously Rhea was the one that was in control of that situation. Liv treats Dom like a true equal. You know what I mean? And they help each other with everything. The dynamic for Theory and Maxine is going to be weird because they're two individuals trying to find their footing. You know what I mean?
Good point.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I kind of feel like this is kind of their last oppo for either or individually. You know what I mean? Because at what point do you get frustrated and just do not re-sign? I do want to touch on the Don Callis family because we did. Niriam did me dirty yesterday, guys. He said, "Watch AEW. It's a pay-per-view level Wednesday night Dynamite."
It was.
I said, "Cool." And when I turned it on, it was Chris Jericho. So,
oh, come on, Chano. That was I was gonna say. It wasn't a bad. It was a.
No, that was a good show. It was a good show. I just got to give Niriam shit for making me turn it on at that exact moment.
I gave you a warning.
After it was on.
That's hilarious.
The first match was miserable. Tommaso Ciampa and Chris Jericho, whatever. But then we had, arguably the true main event. We had Takeshita versus Kyle Fletcher. Absolute slobber knocker, man. Dogs are gonna dog. Absolute fiver. These guys absolutely killed it. These are two men that should be fighting for the world title. You know what I mean? It's absolutely insanity, man. And it is beautiful to see Tanner rise to the top. And I'm glad that Kyle Fletcher was able to separate himself from Will Ospreay and be his own man, because that man is an uber talent. And I don't think anybody would be wrong to say he's a top 5 wrestler in the world.
Mm-hmm.
That man is a gem.
Yep.
Outside of that, because that's only one of 3 major title changes that has happened this week. So I don't want to spend too much time in that individual match. But Andrade is a babyface now. So, Netram, we all know how much you love Andrade. Marcus, when you can pull that up. Yeah, there we go. We know he loves Andrade so much.
I do.
what? How do you feel about your man's being a babyface, being hot as hell in that suit jacket?
Oh, dang. I changed appearances 3 times. No, man. I mean, Andrade had to be babyface. I feel like his catchphrase got over. His moveset's exciting. You know what I mean? Like Andrade's an exciting wrestler to watch. Like Andrade gets in the ring, we know it's a banger. And to be honest, AEW is kind of lacking in star power baby faces. Because besides Darby Allin, which we just seen, Hangman Page, who's gone, Kenny Omega, who we'll get into later, they're kind of lacking that big baby face main eventers. And we have a lot of heel talent that's just taking over AEW. So, yeah, no, Andrade is perfect for it, you know. And if you don't know, how you know?
That's actually mad funny.
It's a fact.
All right, guys. So, question for everybody. Please don't all speak at once. Based on your answers, the one we will talk about first. Who was the bigger world title change this past week? And obviously, I'm not saying names because we all know the names involved. So I'm gonna start. First person to answer wins. Then we'll talk about it.
Are we talking significance or shock?
Either or, biggest.
Kenny Omega winning is more significant than every other thing.
Yeah, I agree. Omega.
When you say that, I just go Mark. You know what I mean?
I didn't say it was the biggest shock. I said it's the most significant.
You say that, I hear Mark.
I will say just real quick. I agree with Nitram. I do believe it's Kenny, just because the stipulation, obviously, to me, is what made that everything. We all know Kenny's condition, this, that, and the third. This being basically the final opportunity he would get. As this last couple weeks, I kind of started seeing that picture, but I wasn't too sure if they pulled the trigger on it. Kenny made the most sense to me. Like, I don't think any of us could have predicted that Punk would come out of Monday Night Raw as champion, but we did all know that he would be there at Chicago. So him winning the title, to me, it's kind of like, cool, Punk is the title guy, is the title main event picture again, but Kenny, it's been a few years, man, and he hasn't done it by himself in a while. So could be the last time we see Kenny in that world championship picture. So it does mean a lot, I feel like, to the wrestling world more.
I feel like that's not a question. I feel like that's a fact at this point.
This
will be the last time we see Kenny Omega as the AEW World Champion. You know what I mean?
Unfortunately, man. Yeah,
AEW. No,
I don't think so. I don't think so. Not the last time. I think this is genuinely, not to be like the guy that's like, oh, here we go, oh brother. I think this is the second to last time. I think he'll get it one more time. I real quick, I'm so sorry. I would agree with you, Mike. However, the only reason why I feel like this is the last time, and maybe we all feel this way, is because they keep playing on his health injuries and his age retirement. And it's for the last year, maybe 2. So it's like, again, he's young in like life, but in the wrestling world, he's an old man, you know. So this could be it. Yeah.
I mean, also, there's really nothing else to tell with Kenny besides passing the torch to Ospreay as you're the next
Kenny
god
Omega
of pro wrestling. Right.
Yep.
You know, I mean, there's nothing really for Kenny to do after this.
Now, when that domino falls, right, and we see Ospreay beat Kenny, and Ospreay becomes the Kenny Omega of this generation, how long until we get into the conversation Kyle Fletcher becomes the next Will Ospreay?
Has to be quick.
He's there. He's there.
He's right there.
He's right there.
He's already there. I don't think Will Ospreay does anything better than Kyle Fletcher at this point.
My big question here is
Kyle cuts a better promo too. That's the
Kyle cuts a better promo.
I agree.
Kyle's younger, obviously, and he's obviously, he can move. He moves very good in the ring. Ospreay still moves like a hot knife through butter. But from this guy, Fletcher, he's moving like I don't even know what he's moving like. This guy's moving like water. He just flows. He just flows, constantly flows. And him and Takeshita, I think they're going to be dance partners forever. I think this is the modern. I think Tony Khan saw it, and I think what I'm about to say, we've all realized. Maybe I have to speak it aloud for the people at home, but he has Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada 2.0 right now. He has it. He has that same possibility of level of feud and big moment matches that we had 10 years ago, and with two guys that are in their mid-20s, early 30s, which is incredible.
Oh yeah.
And you wouldn't be wrong. I still stand by. There's nothing Will Ospreay does better than Kyle Fletcher right now. I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer in that, because there's sometimes you can watch them side by side and they move the same exact way. If you give Kyle Fletcher 5 more years, I think he's better than Will. You know what I mean? If you give him 5 more years of reps, I think he's better than Will. He's already a better promo than Will. You know what I mean? He already has more state. Will's a better wrestler, but Kyle has more stage presence. You know what I mean? When Fletcher's out there in the ring, he demands that attention. You know what I mean? It's not because, oh my God, yeah, Kyle Fletcher's so cool. Because we look at Will and we go, no, Will's generally a cool dude.
Yeah.
But Kyle Fletcher demands that. You know what I mean? And that's why I feel like they're right there neck and neck. They already right there on that level, like uber talent, best in the world.
And I think Fletcher's mastered the presentation up to this point, wearing
Yes.
the suits.
He looks like the James Bond bad guy villain type of dude. Like he's a tall dude, good physique. Like he like Chano said, man, he demands a certain presence. Like he has that physical stature. It's like it just like he said, man, it commands the room, bro. And he cuts the promo well, so like it follows up what you're looking at. And then in the ring, as we all already agreed at, he's one of the best in AEW or in wrestling period as a whole. And as Chano said, I agree, man. I'm a big freaking Will Ospreay guy. Unfortunately for me, I did not get to see Kenny during his heyday. But I'm a big Will guy. But I am agree with Chano, man. I do believe Fletcher could be that dude in AEW, like for years to come.
And this is obviously this. We talk about how the greatness of Kenny Omega, and Niram can attest to this, because Kenny is arguably the greatest of all time, if not on the Mount Rushmore greatest wrestlers of all time. I was going to say American, but that does disjustice to the Canadian folks, and you know what I mean, and the Lucha Libre superstars. But Kenny is on a short list of the greatest talents of all time, and that should not be understated. So to give him his final hurrah over MJF, who's in a bounce back from this because he's still super young, already a 3-time AEW World Champion, you know what I mean? MJF lose absolutely nothing from this. You lose to one of the greatest of all time, and then Will Ospreay has his moment. But then you start to notice the AEW World Title picture trend. You know what I mean? We had very long title reigns to establish championship, and now we're getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter reigns. Darby held it for a month, but he had like 6 title defenses. MJF, I think he held it for a couple of weeks, maybe a month and a half. Samoa Joe held it for a month and a half, 2 months maybe. MJF held it before that for like 2-3 months. Swerve had it for a couple of months. I think Mox had it the longest out of everybody I'm naming. But these reigns are, yes, Hangman. Hangman had incredibly short reign.
Yeah.
So these title reigns are getting shorter and shorter and shorter. We're kind of playing hot potato amongst people to get their second, third championships, and now you have this opportunity for Will Ospreay to be world champion. Now, Nitram, I'm gonna ask you this specifically because you really haven't gotten a piece off during the segment. But do you genuinely believe in your hearts of hearts that Will Ospreay is a world champion? And I'm not just talking about like, oh, he's an incredible wrestler, because we've seen incredible wrestlers. We've seen incredible wrestlers not be world champion material. You know what I mean? We have seen that main event guys who are just main event picture, they can't be world champion for whatever reason, doesn't click. And we know Will was the IWGP Heavyweight Championship champion at one point, but it didn't really stick. Do you think he can do that for AEW? Because my answer is no. I think the training segment with Moxley helps him a little bit, but he doesn't have the presence. It's like the cool guy you always liked being the world champion. And I'm gonna let you get your piece. Then after this, we're gonna go to our first break.
I think they're setting up Will to be that successful world champion. So you make the argument that like Hangman was supposed to be the big baby face of AEW and arguably is the biggest babyface AEW. But when he won the world title both times, it was kind of a failed project. I think they're making sure it doesn't happen with Will, and they're going to do it immediately when Will wins that title. We're all going to be behind it because it's Will Ospreay. And right when we get about, okay, what's Will doing? That you'll have the Death Rider turn. You'll have the Kyle Fletcher coming up for that picture, rerun that rivalry. You'll have all this stuff that's happening. And I think he'll be not only a successful world champion because he sells merch, he's a global superstar. I mean, man's cheered whether he's in the States or in every other country there is. Will Ospreay is a global superstar. I think all AEW has to do is make sure that no one grows tired of him, and that's by making him the corny babyface they wanted Hangman to be, the corny babyface they wanted Darby Allin to be, the corny babyface they're going to want Kenny Omega to be. And I think the only way they're going to be able to save that is by the way they're setting it up now, because you can see how everything's going to unfold, how the Death Riders are going to put their hands on, like, hey, Will, you kind of owe us one. You know, he'll sit there and be like, no, I don't, bro, and bro, this, and me and my wife, we have sex every night, and bro, let me tell you, you know, and and it's fine. And then right when he's done with the Death Riders, boom, Don Callis will be like, well, I got Kyle Fletcher. And if it's not Kyle Fletcher, he still has Okada. You beat Kenny Omega, but can you beat Okada? And there's so much you could do about it that I think it's going to be so interesting. I think Will Ospreay has not only a great reign, the most successful babyface reign, and probably one of the longest ones until MJF wants to get back in the picture.
The only thing is, I don't know if AEW can survive a corny babyface. You know what I mean? You the brand is built on being a badass. You know what I mean? Going toe to toe, all elite wrestling, where the best wrestle. Can you survive a corny, cheesy babyface? But we're gonna still come back with this. We're gonna do this ad. We're gonna come back. We're gonna do the poopy mark the calendars. With the last keeper gaping, and we'll see you guys soon.
Have you ever seen an ad on YouTube, think, wow, that's way too good to be true? Well, this one is completely 100%. 4, 3, 2, 1. Happy New Year! I took the bad guy's advice, went to SeatGeek and used 4 sites OTR and got these great seats for double or nothing. Would you rather be sitting closer to the ring or closer to the roof? Use this code and save today. Plenty more AEW events coming to your area. Just use SeatGeek.com. Like I said, type in 4 sides OTR.
Shout out to our girl brother Rick 8-Bit. And now it's the time that nobody has been waiting for. The return of marking.
Maybe some people. Maybe some.
I got you. I'm waiting. I like marking calendar. You know,
yeah.
it helps me
Mike
refresh
says.
my
Mike
mind.
says yeah, but Mike texts me on the side like, "Yo, this is miserable.
Oh, brother,
This guy stinks." I'm gonna
He's
get my
talking
man.
about 1937.
I wouldn't be surprised if there's an 1880 thing in there. Just for me,
I'm
dog.
praying. 1885.
All right, and it is time to mark the calendar. Do your thing, my boy.
All right, folks, welcome back to Marking the Calendar, the part of the show where we dig through wrestling history like an archaeologist trying to find literally anything before his boss realizes he's just been digging a bunch of random holes. Every episode, we go back in time and ask, who approved this, who survived this, and occasionally, ain't no way that was that ass the plan, bro. Today, we stopped the clock on July 9th, a date that gave us a beach party where the biggest bump was WCW's reputation, a corporate invasion where the only thing changing hands faster than steel chairs was loyalty, and a pay-per-view with a name so ridiculous it had to fight for people's respect before the first bell even rang. So tighten up those knee pads, check the emergency exits, and if somebody walks in the room saying they have a plan, ask them if the plan survives first contact. Because on July 9th, wrestling reminded everybody that too many cooks will burn the whole kitchen down. And WCW, they showed up with a whole catering company. Our stories comes to a simmer in 2000 in Daytona Beach, Florida, inside of the Ocean Center, where WCW hosted Bash at the Beach. And on July 9th, 2000, this wasn't a beach party. This was an argument with a wrestling ring wrapped around it, because WCW was already going through the ringer, y'all. They had bad ratings. There were backstage politics. There was creative control. Everybody kept seasoning the same pot until nobody could remember what was supposed to be on the menu. This was late stage WCW, the kind of company whose plans could never reach their destination because everybody kept grabbing the steering wheel, and the card already felt like it was rolling into madness. Crunk bulldozed the perfect event to win the tag team championship, which was one of the few times all night the stronger team actually won. Booker T got robbed after Double J introduced his guitar to the side of his head. That would have put just about anybody else out of commission. Goldberg beat Kevin Nash, sending Scott Hall packing, which is one hell of a consequence for a guy who wasn't even wrestling, right? And Scott Steiner got himself disqualified just to keep his U.S. championship because losing the match was apparently less embarrassing than him losing the belt. And the whole thing started when Hulk Hogan challenged Jeff Jarrett for the WCW World Heavyweight Championship. Now, on paper, that's pretty normal. You have Hogan, Jarrett, the world title. That's pretty cool. But then the bell rang, and Jeff Jarrett just flat out lays down. Bro, his back to the mat. Russo tosses the title into the ring. Hogan's there looking around like, I know y'all ain't dead ass right now. Then puts one foot on Jarrett for the easiest world championship win you probably ever see. That's not a title match. That's somebody checking to see if the floor's sturdy. Hogan then grabs a microphone, looks towards the back, and basically asks Russo, what the hell is this? And then he leaves. And now you'd be stuck thinking you'd probably just seen the most awkward shit of the night had to offer. But you'd be wrong. Because later, Russo walks back out there, grabs a microphone, calls Hogan a politician and a piece of shit, and tells the world he never gets to wrestle in WCW ever again. At that point, the pay-per-view turned into the wrestling equivalent of your parents forgetting you were still in the back seat. And here's the craziest part. That wasn't just a promo, y'all. Hogan was so pissed he ended up suing WCW and Vince Russo, arguing the whole thing crossed the line from storyline into his personal life. And if you thought the night was done for, I'd have to politely request you to think again. Because after all of that, Jeff Jarrett ended up defending the WCW World Championship again, this time against Booker T. Now that's where the night finally found something real. Because while everybody else was trying to run the company, Booker T was busy carrying it on his back. Booker T defeated Jeff Jarrett to become the WCW World Champion, and that's what mattered that night. Because with all the nonsense happening around him, Booker winning the world title was the one moment that actually felt like WCW remembered how to do something right. Everything else was chaos. Everything else was ego. Everything else was a company looking at a fire trying to put it out with gasoline in a press conference. But Booker gave the night a heartbeat. And that's what makes this story so wildly interesting. Because Bash at the Beach 2000 is remembered for the disaster, the laydown, the promo, the politics, the lawsuit that followed, the company looking like it had no idea who was driving. But buried under all of that was Booker T reaching the top of WCW, which was an honest achievement, inside one of the most unbelievable nights wrestling has ever produced, because somebody walked into that building with a plan, probably multiple plans, honestly, maybe too many plans. And by the end of the night, the plan was sitting in the corner with his shoes off, wondering how everything went left. No plan survives first contact. And in WCW, sometimes first contact was just Vince Russo finding a microphone. And 1 year later, even after losing the war, WCW still found a way to start another fight. Because on July 9th, 2001, Raw came to the Phillips Arena in Atlanta, Georgia. Again. And at this point, I know Atlanta had to be looking around like, bro, why every family reunion ends with y'all fighting in my house? The invasion was already underway. Vince bought WCW. Shane claimed WCW. And everybody thought they knew what was going on. WWF versus the WCW. Simple. You have two companies One battle, but the war didn't begin until ECW showed up, immediately making everybody else's plan look hella stupid. WCW was already throwing hands. The WWF was throwing them right back. Then boom, out of nowhere, Rob Van Dam, Tommy Dreamer, the rest of the ECW originals, they come out walking out looking like the Expendables, ready to get busy McDizzy. Paul Heyman sounded like somebody who finally got control of the Ox. And once ECW hit the ring, son, they was cleaning house. And for a mere second, if you were looking with enough intent, it almost appeared as if they were going to fight WCW as well. So you then think, okay, 3 companies, that's nada, still manageable. Then WCW and ECW starts hugging. Bro, they hugged. An invasion. The only invasion we witnessed that night was invasion of personal affection. The crowd wasn't there for that. They all froze. The WWF froze. Even GAR sounded hella confused. And suddenly, Stephanie McMahon walks out revealing that she owns ECW. So now, Shane has WCW, Stephanie has ECW, and Vince realizes his own kids just jumped in on national television. Imagine buying your biggest competition just for your children to use it against you. That's not corporate warfare. That's Thanksgiving with television rights. And here's where shit gets interesting, right? Because on its own, WCW never really felt like it was enough. Too many of the biggest names were gone. But look at ECW. ECW didn't walk into that building looking for permission. They walked in like the neighbors heard yelling and decided to join the fight. Now, all of a sudden, the invasion had teeth. The plan was WWF versus WCW. ECW shows up, nuts slapping on their ankles like they already owned the damn place, which is pretty fucking wild. 1 year earlier, WCW lost control from the inside. 1 year later, WWF lost control from the outside. Because no matter how much Vince thought he owned, no matter how much Shane thought he knew, no matter how much Stephanie was there smiling, the second ECW hit that ring, the plan all changed. Now, I like to fast forward us 16 years later. And somehow, the plan didn't just go off the rails, y'all. It got loaded into an ambulance. Because on July 9th, 2017, inside of the American Airlines Center in Dallas, Texas, the WWE held a pay-per-view called Great Balls of Fire. Bro, that name sounds like the first thing a Southerner says after sitting down in a truck that's been baking in the sun all afternoon. That's not a wrestling pay-per-view. That's what your uncle yells when the grill explodes. And yo, legit, everybody clowned that name. Like, brother, man, how could you not? You hear Great Balls of Fire and immediately think, this better either be amazing or somebody better explain why this was approved. And well, then the show happens. And somehow it was actually fire. WWE gave us this show with the least serious name possible, then accidentally booked a card with actual heat. Cesaro and Sheamus survived a brutal 30-minute Iron Man match against the Hardy Boys. Alexa Bliss escaped Sasha Banks by countout. And Big Cass turned his friendship with Enzo Amore into a demolition project. But the real madness was Roman Reigns versus Braun Strowman in an ambulance match. Now, an ambulance match already sounds like somebody admitted the plan was violence. And somehow, they still found a way to go too far. Braun had already won the match by putting Roman inside of the ambulance. That should have been the end. But Roman said, actually, I have a sequel. So after the match, Roman attacks Braun, throws him in the ambulance, drives it backstage, and crashes it into a production truck. Bro, that's not losing gracefully. That's attempted vernacular storyline. That's not, I want a rematch. That's call insurance. That's literally the fish in SpongeBob who somehow is always hurting his leg. Then Braun gets cut out of the ambulance, refuses any medical help, and walks away like a horror movie villain with a gym membership. And then we go on to the main event. Brock Lesnar defending the Universal Championship against Samoa Joe. And this is the point of the show where it puffed its blazer, tightened its tie, fixed its earpiece, threw the Versace shades on his eyes, ready on your mark, boss. Because Samoa Joe didn't walk into that match like a challenger. The way Joe walked in, you would have thought Brock Lesnar beat up his father just to crack his mother. Because, why else would somebody come out going that hard off the rip? Before the bell even rang, Joe attacks Brock, puts him through the announce table, and for a few minutes, the whole building is asking itself, wait, hold on. Is Samoa Joe about to kill the beast? Because, dog, this level of immediate violence only makes sense if Brock personally ruined your childhood somehow. Brock Lesnar was Brock Lesnar, the final boss, Suplex City mayor, a generational freak of nature. But Samoa Joe made him look vulnerable. Joe kept chasing the coquina clutch. He kept dragging Brock into danger, kept making the match feel like one mistake could change everything. And Brock survived. 1 F5, Lesnar retains. But Joe didn't leave looking any smaller. He left looking like a man who walked into his stepfather's house, thrown some respectable bows, and left after accepting of a defeat. Because after all was said and done, Brock never had to say he respected Joe. The match said it for him. The Beast doesn't look vulnerable for just anybody. People were ready to roast great balls of fire forever. And believe me, we did. We probably still do. But the show did give us a brutal tag team match, a women's title match, a friendship implosion, Roman trying to turn an ambulance into evidence, and Samoa Joe making Brock Lesnar sweat. A show with one of the dumbest names WWE has ever put on a poster somehow became one of the better Raw pay-per-views of that year. Go fucking figure. And talk about figuring, I figure it's about the time we show respect to 3 wrestling figures. So before we close the vault, July 9th does have some birthdays. Our first candle goes to Kevin Nash. Diesel, big sexy. A man who proved that if you're 7 feet tall, walk slow enough, and look like you know where the money is, wrestling will eventually hand you a check. Kevin Nash has one of the funniest careers in wrestling history because he was successful in a way that makes every hard-working wrestler furious. Some people make their name by doing 45-minute classics. Nash made his name by looking at a 45-minute classic and saying, yeah, that sounds bad for my knees. And honestly, respect, man, because Kevin Nash understood the wrestling economics better than most people understood the wrestling business. Why take 10 bumps when one jackknife and a good contract can get you home by dinner? Happy birthday to Kevin Nash, a man who taught generations that working smarter sometimes means not working on a Thursday. We got Sheldon Benjamin's name etched on our next candle. And Sheldon is the complete opposite. Sheldon Benjamin wrestled like God gave him extra athleticism, then forgot to give the WWE enough plans for it. This man could jump, flip, suplex, grapple, and make the most ridiculous thing look normal. Sheldon is one of those wrestlers everybody calls underrated. So often, in fact, that at some point you have to ask how the rating system could still be so broken. Because if you've watched Sheldon Benjamin in his prime, you know that man moved like somebody created a wrestler, maxed out every stat, then forgot to press main event push. Happy birthday to Sheldon Benjamin. One of the greatest reminders that sometimes the plan doesn't fail because the talent isn't there. Sometimes the plan fails because people holding the clipboard are confused. And our third and final candle gets blown out for Mark Merrill. Johnny B. Bad. Wild man Mark Merrill. A man whose wrestling career went through enough identity crisis that he should qualify for witness protection. Let me tell y'all, man, Merrill could work. He had the charisma, he had the personality, he had the outfits, and somehow his own storyline became, what if your wife became a bigger star than you? Which is a tough day at the office because most people come home from work complaining about their boss. Mark Merrill came home like, yeah, so the crowd likes Sable more than the match. But here's the thing. Merrill's story didn't end there. After wrestling, he became a motivational speaker and used his life to help others. And that's worth respecting because wrestling plans fall apart all the time. Careers change, spotlights move, crowds choose somebody over somebody else. But figuring out how to turn that something into something meaningful, that's a different kind of win. A happy birthday to Mark Merrill. And a happy birthday to everybody else out there who was born on July 9th. And that is why we keep marking the calendar. Because July 9th wasn't about perfect plans. It was about one simple truth. The moment people get involved, anything can happen. WCW tore itself apart from the inside. The invasion got bigger than anybody could expect. And somehow a pay-per-view called Great Balls of Fire ended up being remembered more for the wrestling than the name. 3 different companies, 3 different years. One reminder, wrestling's at its best when it stops trying to be predictable, because history doesn't remember the meeting. It remembers the moment everything changed. July 9th. My name is Taino, the last keeper of kayfabe, and I'll catch y'all next week right here in this comfy corner of the 4 sides of the ring. Until then, keep marking the calendar.
Incredible. Absolutely incredible. What a job. And Chano, listen, you got to give the man credit. You got to give the man credit. He just rattled off history, knowledge.
Trying to tell you, Chano.
I'm trying for you, Tano. I'm trying, brother.
You should have watched Great Balls of Fire with me. It was a good pay-per-view.
You have Kim watch it with you? My
favorite. It was only 9 years ago.
My favorite thing is, did you have Kim watch this with you?
I did not. No, I watched it on my own.
On my own.
Tano, did you know? Because you said Braun Strowman walked away like a horror movie in a gym membership. Are you aware that Braun Strowman is actually the next Jason Voorhees in a future project?
Shut the front door. No, he's not.
It was announced. Yeah, he's gonna be the body for Jason Voorhees.
Dude, can I say something?
That's pretty fun.
Wild. I like his show. I enjoy.
I do
his
too.
Show.
I do. I watch
his show. I don't understand how we had this guy. He has so much charisma and personality, and you literally just didn't do anything with him. Like he hit. And listen, you should tell the people more about the Invasion Santa storyline. I will say, because the name on the contract did say McMahon.
It was, bro. It was such confusing times, and like Raw, SmackDown history, 2001, 2002. It was just a bunch of WCW, ECW guys just trying to find where they stand in the WWE. And honestly, most of the guys who survived are the guys that we know, like the Rey Mysterios, the Booker T's. A lot of those dudes didn't make it out, man. It was fucking insane. Like, I could only imagine how it must have been like watching that weekly, like at our age now, because we were like 4 or 5 years old. But like it was just so dramatic, and that shit still hit, bro. I'm like, this shit hit. Like, this is amazing.
It's good stuff, man. And you know, shout out to our good brother Booking Like a Mark. His new season drops here in just a couple weeks. He's covering 2001, the Invasion. We're gonna be talking all of that here. Booking Like a Mark. Make sure you go follow him right now on social media so you can get notified.
Oh yeah, we got to talk more on that, Mark. It's a lot to that's a whole podcast episode on the fucking Invasion angle of.
Well, we'll probably do the whole season about it. Mark's a really good historian. I will say that. So yes, please check out Booking Like a Mark, a good brother on that side. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Jesus Crisis. I may be hated, but you're just that is our guy T-Face. He does an intro, 4 Sides of the Ring. Please follow him on Spotify and wherever you get your absolute music. It is TEEFAZE. That is our good brother. I've known him for a very long time. Great dude. Great dude. Even worse as a person, if you believe that. Tell Barbs I said hi. On the flip side, we do have some saddening wrestling news. A WWE legend, a future Hall of Famer, is letting his contract expire. The wrestler formerly known as Sheamus, the man who would never become a Grand Slam champion because he was always the cuck, never the bride. And they try to restructure, and my man said, "Let it run out." He said, "You guys don't value me. You guys don't appreciate me here after everything I've done. Give me my walking papers. I will walk out like a man." And I was like, damn, that sucks for Sheamus. But in true channel fashion, I was like, how old is Sheamus? I was like, 45. God damn, my man's is old.
I knew it.
If you don't know me, hi, my name is Chana, whoever you need me to be, and I am an ageist. The moment you hit 45 as a wrestler, I no longer want to see my TV screen. It's not because I hate you. No. If I've been watching you for over 15 years,
Jesus,
the moment
bro.
you hit 45, your in-ring ability starts to diminish. You know what I mean? And every
If you
fond
could
memory,
still go, you gotta go, bro. If old boy
Facts.
could still wrestle, you could wrestle. The age shouldn't matter, especially now with the WWE system, bro. They don't wrestle like before. These guys are like, they're fine. They're fine.
They have a lighter schedule.
All right,
they're not
wait,
wrestling as many matches.
before we go into how all of you guys are wrong about people over the age of 45, let's play our favorite game because Ant finally sent us his match cards. Let's find the Zombie King.
Where's the Zombie King? Where's the Zombie King?
Adrenaline ECPW TV taping. The ECPW light heavyweight champion of the world. He is putting his title on the line against Phil Fusion with Sophia Sins. I don't like when managers and wrestlers their names don't match, because what is a Phil Fusion and why is she Sophia Sins? You know what I mean? How come they just couldn't be the Fusions or the Few Sins? You see? That could have been a banger. This will be in Ridgefield Park, New Jersey, July 17th. Bell time is at 7 p.m. It is at the Phil Sheridan Building Association. Tickets are $10 in advance, $12 at the door. Check out the Zombie King as a defend his strap. Oh my God, is my man is doing double duty? All right. TCW, American Spirit, on the 17th and the 18th at Ocean County Fair, in Bayville, New Jersey. A meet and greet at 6, bell time at 7. I don't know what my man's is doing here, but he's doing his best.
I got a gripe with
And TCW, Tap Room Takeover. Let me see if I find the Zombie King.
The Brooklyn Outlaw Donovan. I wonder what he's
Junior Flow is facing Robbie Romero. That's an actual wrestling name. I actually appreciate that. I'm not even gonna hold you, because some of these wrestling names is terrible.
Imagine the
I
Brooklyn
don't think
Donovan is from like Long Island.
I wouldn't be. He's from Idaho. TCW
Yeah, right, exactly.
Guerrilla Warfare featuring a steel cage combat, 2 rings, 1 cage. Look, they're doing war.
Oh
games,
fuck
guys.
yeah, that's what's up. Oh yeah, $10.
Guerrilla Warfare.
Listen, I
Doesn't
respect
get
it.
the same as
It
war,
is
dude.
at Tom's River. Bell time is at 6 p.m.
That's fire.
Oh,
10.
it's at the skating center.
Hey, this is actually my favorite poster ever. TCW Hit is a Hit. Saturday,
That is
August
a
29,
beautiful part.
2026. It is at the Squankrum Road, Farmingdale, New Jersey. Bell time at 7. I actually like this. I think they donating to charity with this. I'm not entirely sure, but I remember seeing that in.
Listen, the point is, go check out your indie wrestling. Go check out the Zombie King and go have fun at your local show. I don't know if I told you boys, for the 4th of July, I went to a GCW show.
I was
and
wondering about the shirt.
Did you go to the backyard show?
I did. It was so fun, bro. $20 tickets right there. It's the first time I got to see Nick Gage. He was actually fun to watch. I got to see the Megasis Megan Bain. Big shout out to Megan Bain, because me and one of my boys were talking. I'm like, she's working on her craft, bro. Like, even though she's on AEW, she's still putting in that work. Check out your indie wrestling, man, because you never know who you're gonna see. It's a fun time, bro. It's a fun time. But yes, go definitely, out of all the indie wrestlers, out of all the indie promotions, go check out TCW. Go check out the Zombie King, because you're looking at a future star as well.
Yes,
And
sir, yes.
on that September 12th show with the cage match, just so everyone's clear about what it is their War Games, and the Zombie King is in it.
Fuck
Hell yeah.
So
Well,
Jump
It'll
off
be
the
nice.
top of the cage.
When
Jump
they
off the
said
top of the
two-
cage, Ant.
when they no, he can't do that. He has a wedding. He has a wedding the month after.
Jump after off that cage.
My man is getting married a month after. He's not jumping off of any cage. He
can
gets
do it.
on
He's
top of that
hungry.
cage.
He's hungry. He's gonna do 2 backflips off the cage.
Yeah, you know what's gonna happen when he gets to the top of the ring? Mrs. Zombie King is gonna drag his ass off the top of the cage by his ear. That's exactly. Nobody's ruining that wedding for nobody. You understand me? But back to the Great White Sheamus. Yeah, listen, I'm an ageist, and the reason I'm an ageist is because when you get older, obviously wrestling, you get injured, so you have to move in a separate way. So like, you remember how Matt Hardy used to get to the top rope, used to do the leg drop on you, and just hit you, and now my man don't do that. He gets to the top rope, he gets to the second rope, and he does the elbows to the back of the neck. That's bro. That's a bro. You laughing because bro, it's facts.
It's
Things
true.
like bro, things like that happen, and it diminishes like my childhood memory, especially like for older wrestlers I've been watching my whole entire life. Like, how am I supposed to tell my son Grayson like, yeah, this is a great Matt Hardy. He's on the top 10 of my all time wrestling because I'm a big Matt Hardy fan, and my man just gets on the top rope. He goes off the second. I'm like, damn, that shit was whack. But you know what I mean? But there are exceptions to the rule. AJ Styles could have still got another year or two and not miss a step. You know what I mean? But Sheamus was one of those guys, but like he was never technique and talent. You know what I mean? He was look, and then there's the comfortability one. Don't give me that crazy look. I never seen Sheamus match that was like that was that guy. That wasn't involving Gunther. That wasn't involving Gunther. Oh my
Tripping. Gunther Sheamus Mania. Sheamus was that guy.
Outside of Gunther.
Literally the match on Great Balls of Fire with Cesaro.
Yeah.
Sheamus versus Drew McIntyre. They're the guys, bro.
Sheamus's first WWE Championship win on Raw against John Cena.
I actually do remember
banger.
I was actually really upset about that. I was like, who is this guy?
While we're on the subject of Sheamus, it's a shameful thing. Okay. That WWE has decided, after parading the likes of Goldberg, John Cena, and AJ Styles on retirement tours, that Sheamus was not warranted the same opportunity. I think that's pretty shitty in my mind. Now, obviously, injuries did hurt Sheamus this year. And not only that, he was just about to come back from the injury when he dropped the plate on his head and cracked his skull open during one of his Celtic Warrior workouts. So, tough scene for Shamo. The toughest part about it is 2 weeks ago, they just were parading him around on Fox with Jameis Winston for the World Cup. He was drinking Guinnesses. Sheamus was drinking Guinnesses with Jameis. And 2 weeks later, his contract is not renewed. And it seems TKO representatives went to bat for him. I don't know if you guys saw that today. Like, somebody went to bat for him. So I think it's shitty.
It is. It definitely is. He's one of those guys you should have let him retire on his own terms at WWE. You know what I mean? You listen, I may not like wrestlers over 45, but you do got to show love and tenure to the guys who've been there for close to 20 years.
You just single-handedly helped either AEW or New Japan or GC, any of these promotions. You just single-handedly helped them bring in additional eyes, especially if he goes to AEW, the B show on USA television. We're fans of Sheamus, and if you're a fan of him, you're probably gonna go watch him on Wednesdays if he shows up on a Wednesday.
I don't think fans like that travel like that, but I do think people will check out the first couple Sheamus matches.
Sure.
I will be there when they reunite the Bar.
They can't be called the Bar, so what would they be called?
The Bluey Combat Club, like they are now.
Also, you can't tell me just to add on real quick. You can't tell me you couldn't find a spot for Sheamus, really. The man's incredible shape. He's a great trainer. He's a great promo. He's guaranteed a Hall of Fame spot when all of this is blown over.
Yep.
You can't tell me that there's guys back there that are doing training and producing, and Sheamus is not one of those guys that you could have found one of these positions for, gave the bag to, and rolled off on a happy sunset.
It's not that, bro. It's bread. TKO, remember, they run the UFC. They're trying to get WWE contracts that are more similar to MMA contracts, which when in the case that WWE wrestlers, they wrestle way more. You know what I mean? On average than and I don't want to hear that UFC is more physically demanding.
Yeah,
but
sure, WWE
but
makes
like
more
WWE,
money.
They make not only do they make more bread, they're constantly putting their body in more matches over time. You know what I mean? And they got rid of the live shows, which only means they're more liable for injury now. You know what I mean? Because these muscles aren't getting worked as they used to. Mm-hmm. But it's really unfortunate. But that's why inevitably TKO will fail.
Here's the tough part about that is that you have a guy here who has a wealth of wrestling knowledge, and you have a bunch of Irish-born superstars in the company. You could have had, a faction. Sheamus could have ran a faction of Irish-born superstars. You know, we have Finley's kid there in NXT. You got Lyra Valkyria. You got Finn Balor. You know, you got other EK Prosper. You know, you've got these Irish wrestlers there. JD McDonough. You have low hanging fruit. The
I don't-
mere fact that
I don't agree with the faction part, but I feel what you're saying because I remember Old Boy and Pete Dunne just ultimately failing.
you know, that was a hard thing. The Brawling Brutes. That that was tough.
I was a fan
tough.
of the Brawling Brutes. I
Of
enjoyed
course you
them.
are. You're a
It
mark.
worked and then it didn't work. Of
Did
course,
they
'cause you're-
fail or did it backlash
abandon
because
it?
he almost killed Biggie? Because
I mean, he was on the Brawling Brutes after he killed Big E, tried to kill Big E, and it still wasn't great. You know what I mean?
Well, we're
don't
not
think
talking
the
about
Brawling
Ridge
Brutes
the
are
Fridge here. We're talking about Shamo, one of the best, I would say, that we've seen in this 26, last 20 years.
Especially early 2010s, man. When he first came in, like you said, against Cena. I think he had a feud. I remember an interesting feud with Big Show. They had some pretty good matches at the time. Big Show was still pretty good. Yeah, it sucks to see Sheamus go, man. All these superstars who are being released, whatever the case is, who's in the WWE for 10, 15 plus years, the New Day, now Sheamus, it sucks, man. Like it's like I kind of view it as like that franchise player who's been on that team for 10 years and now he's on another, and now it's like, oh, he's kind of watered down because you always remember him as where he was drafted and where he got those all-stars. And it's unfortunate, but as we all said, Sheamus is 45, but he's a young 45. He's healthy,
48.
he's fit.
48.
48.
He's
48.
He's 48.
You said
dog.
40. You said 45.
You
right?
said 45.
I said
You
no,
started
no.
this.
I said he's 48, and you know how I feel about wrestlers over the age of 45.
Okay,
All
so
right,
I misheard.
all
Okay, that's fine. However, point stands, a young side of 48. He's not all old and broken down. He can still move. Excited to see what's next for him, whether if that's AEW or else.
He's not broken down. My man's got hurt 3 times in under like 8 months, dog.
I think the
those
thing that
are
we-
recent.
The gym accident is just a freak accident.
It's a freak thing.
Generally, and I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Ultimately,
here's what I want to say on this though, real quick. I'm
Go
sorry
ahead.
to cut you off.
No, you're
before
good.
I
No, you're
forget
good.
this again.
No,
The
go ahead.
UFC thing, you brought up the UFC thing. They're trying to structure the contract similar to the UFC. No, they're trying to funnel the money and the losses that they're hitting on the UFC through the WWE, through the TKO merger. They're taking this money and they're trying to make the profits look better at the end of the quarter. If you notice, all of these things start happening at the beginning or the ending of the business quarters. That's kind of how a business works, ladies and gentlemen. Unfortunately, if you're not in the business world, I got bad news for you. But UFC loses substantially more money than WWE makes. WWE makes the money for TKO. UFC loses way more money. And when you have WWE superstars like Sheamus, like Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, making millions and millions, Sami Zayn apparently rumored that he was the one that took the 50% pay cut. I don't care. I'm not watching these guys' pockets. The point remains, I don't think this is a WWE TKO trying to restructure the contracts to be like UFC. I think it's a way to hide the losses from the UFC and take some of that money and funnel it back in. So at the end of the quarter, they're in the green for the stockholders. That's what I think it is.
I do want to touch this
makes
last
sense, and
tidbit
that's
before we
horrible.
go to ad. There was an interview with a Pino star, and she was saying the wrestling WWE pay structure is super similar to a porn pay, the porn contracting, but it has all the worst parts. Like
Yep.
you're considered an independent contractor, but you're not allowed to work for any other things, and you got to
Company.
take care of your own healthcare. Isn't that
And
the craziest thing
travel
ever?
and outfits and all that shit. It's like literally it's the worst of the. I saw that too, bro.
Yeah.
Good
But
shout.
meanwhile, TK's over here paying for hotel, airfare, car rentals, breakfast, and dinner
and
sabacos.
healthcare if you get hurt in his ring.
I mean, obviously, look at Darby Allin. You wouldn't be doing what Darby does if he wasn't sure the big man signing your check wasn't going to pay that bill. But we will see you
That's a
guys in
fact.
about 30 to 60 seconds. We're gonna go another ad.
What's up, my fellow bad guys? Just when you thought we were down bad on the merge? Nah, we just made a power move. We've officially stepped into a big arena, and now you can find us on ProWrestlingTees.com. Randy came through clutch, and now it's time to level up your drip. Dive into a world where every pinfall, every suplex, every promo lives on through what you wear. From the legendary 3-count trivia to the iconic bad guy wrestling designs, we're bringing the heat like never before. This isn't just merch. It's a statement. It's the culture. It's you. So don't wait. Pull up to ProWrestlingTees.com, look up 4 Sides to the Ring, rep the squad, and unleash your inner champion. Don't forget, tell him the bad guy sent you.
Tell him the bad guy sent you anyway. He sent you to your engagement party, your late work dinner. The reason why you got stuck in traffic for 6 hours, the bad guy sent you. Couple more things I do want to touch on, but I do want to talk to Mike about Sami Zayn and CM Punk. So earlier in the we know you're a big Phil guy. If you can't win with Cody, you're gonna win with Phil.
Oh my God! Come on, man.
Cody was attacked early in the night by Gunther, and then Nick Aldis and what's his other dude's name?
Adam Pearce.
Adam Pearce. He's irrelevant. He's glasses and he drinks water. He's not as cool as Nick Aldis. I'm not gonna hold you. Him and Nick got into it. He's like, "Why is my guy on your show?" He was like, You know what I mean? Whatever Adam Pearce does. So Gunther got taken out, and then it was like, "Don't worry about it. I know somebody who's gonna face him." He was like, "Oh my God, we all knew what it was. You're in Chicago." You know what I mean? Like who wrote?
If the box office for the live action Moana came out on Monday, it would have been The Rock. I'm just saying.
Honestly, that would have been fine. I'm not gonna hold you. I would have popped, and that would have been so bad. But I would have popped my ass off like the first 6 minutes, dog. I would have been losing my absolute mind.
6 minutes? That's his entrance. The match is 2 minutes, brother. It's a rock bottom and a people's elbow and a 1, 2, 3.
Yes, the moment the bell rings, I'm out of it. You know what I mean?
It's like Festus. You just stop popping ass and just start watching the match.
Yeah, it's like me watching Adam Copeland. I sung that man's home. What's going on, brother? I sung that whole entire theme song when the bell rang. I'm like, this is terrible.
Do you know what I found funny though? This promo though was that Nick Aldis was like, "I got someone. He's in the building right now." And then later on, we see CM Punk pull up in a car, clearly not in the building, just pull up in the parking lot, come out the car.
No. My man's was in the building. Don't let that man lie to you, bro. He was in the building like, yo, showtime.
He just walked from his house. That's why he had a knock on a garage door, and they just opened. Hey, Phil. He walked the streets of Chicago in his gear.
He lives right across the street from the United. Like he lives in the United Arena. That's where his house is. Just
he's pulling the Chad Ochocinco. You know, he's living in the arena to save money on the contract, you know, because he's worried that he's the next one to get the 50% pay cut.
Listen, that man is a cash cow.
Yeah, that's
you know what I mean? You know me, guys. I love a good heel. I was happy Sami won the World Championship because I never thought he was going to win the World Championship. You know what I mean? I was glad he won it. I never thought it was going to happen for him. I think everybody had acknowledged that he wasn't going to be the champion for long. But it sucks, man. Last time we saw Phil, he lost the world title to Roman, and then he told Cody, "I'll see you soon, buddy." And my man took a nice 2-3 month off vacation with his lovely wife, traveling the world, doing some things, taking some time off, and I respect it. But I don't want to see your first match, your first appearance back, gaining a world title shot and winning the strap. I don't want to see it. You know what I mean? And I get it. Mike, you're going to say he had a good title reign, but was it really that good? He had 4 title defenses. The best thing about CM Punk being world champion was the fact that it was CM Punk. It actually had nothing to do outside of anything else. Because who did he defend against? He defended against Braun Breaker. That was a good match. I'll give him. The Finn Balor match, we knew Finn had a snowball chance in hell to actually take the strap off of him. You know what I mean? And then he had an incredible WrestleMania match with Roman Reigns. Other than that, it was a whole bunch of lip service and him just putting his cock on the table every 16 minutes. You know what I mean? The best part of the title reign was just the fact it was CM Punk.
I'm gonna just say, brother, I need to see your arms after this show because I feel like you got some tribal ink on your arms the way you're riding for Roman over here.
No, I'm not. Right. This is not even a Roman thing because you can make the same argument that Roman's title at this point is severely underwhelming. You know what I mean? But this isn't a Roman segment. This is a
So-
Sami Zayn and giving this to Punk. And because we obviously know the next big moneymaker match that they have for CM Punk is Cody Rhodes, which goes on to my next issue. What is a feud that we had? What is a storyline we've had for Cody Rhodes that does not revolve around the World Championship?
Seth Lesnar.
When he first came back, I'm sure glad they built him up a little bit before they started off on a 3-year world title tour.
So
you know what I
listen,
mean?
I'm gonna get into this. So here's the thing about all of this whole situation right now. So if we're looking at it today or from Monday's perspective, yeah, sure, I agree. There's no reason a guy. Oh, I got the spotlight tonight. All right. There's no reason a guy who's been out for 2 months, who hasn't qualified, he's not a number one contender, who just shows up and gets a title opportunity. That's always been one of my biggest nitpicks of professional wrestling, is I don't like when someone just pops up and gets a title. But at this point, when you have the name and the air that you bring when you're CM Punk, it's excusable for this go around. I guess we'll call myself a hypocrite, whatever. But on the same coin of everything, WWE is going to turn this like they always do right now. This is going to be a meta story for CM Punk. CM Punk slowly becoming the thing that he fought against all those years ago, and he's going to end up turning heel, and he's going to end up showing his true colors. And it's all a part of the grand scheme of things for CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, and whatever happens after Cody and CM Punk's match at SummerSlam, because we all know that's what we're getting, unless they pull a swerve and they say, hey, fatal 4-way, boys, go out there and have a humper.
And I feel like, and Mark, I'm glad you said that, because that match never actually happened. That happened at Saturday Main Event, but the bell never ran, dog.
That's
and
true.
Then Drew McIntyre put both of them through the table. There was no conclusion to that feud at all. The bell never rang.
It's at this point where it's like, okay, what do you want your world title to be? Do you want your world title to be, a go around where it goes back to Cody every couple months and it has a new title holder, or do you want it stuck in the bloodline vortex? Like, these are your options in the WWE right now. It is either the Cody vortex or the bloodline vortex. Let's take our fandoms out of everything. Let's just split it down the middle. No, I'm not, and this is not directed towards anyone. I'm just saying, as a whole, let's split it down the middle. Let's take fandom outside of everything. As of right now, the main title pictures in WWE is the Cody Rhodes vortex and the bloodline vortex. You're either in the one vortex or you're in the other vortex. As soon as you get out of one vortex, guess what? You're in the other one. Punk just left the bloodline vortex to get in the Cody vortex.
And the craziest thing about this, right? I understand what you're saying. But ultimately, to answer Mark your question, Sami Zayn, at least he cried in the ring, I'm gonna be world champion and nobody believes in me because I'm the last good guy. You know what I mean? Fire merch, by the way. I'm a Cody true. I'm a Sami Zayn truther now. But
Poor
I agree.
Sammy.
Listen, I agree with you. You have these two major things that revolve in these two main circles. The one thing about the bloodline vortex is that the bloodline vortex can low-key operate without the championship because they have
But they
each other.
refuse to do it.
Roman didn't have the strap for a full 2 years, year or two.
Yeah, it's about 2 years.
Yeah, he lost it at 41. He lost it at 41. He didn't get back into the title picture until he won the Rumble going into 43.
Yeah, 43.
You know what I mean? He was out of it for a while. He was handling business with Solo, with the Vision, etc.
But that's the thing. It just feels like I feel like we come and obviously the Cody thing got a little monotonous during the summer where it was Cody, Drew, Cody, Drew, Jacob Fatu, Cody, Drew. Now we're at, Cody Gunther, then Cody Sammy, and then now, Punk has that title. For me, it's just like with the bloodline shit, it's like, but I haven't seen I didn't see the Cody Drew stuff the last 4 years, right? 4 years prior. I saw the bloodline stuff. I saw all the same thing happening where one member of the bloodline needs to fall in line with the rest of the bloodline so that they can become more powerful. So Roman can get his full grasp on the title picture and his family can control each division. But here's the problem. The rest of the family's not controlling the other divisions like they were at one point.
I know.
The Usos aren't going for tag titles.
We're going
Fatu's
too
not
off.
going for mid cards.
We're
No,
going
we're
too
not.
off the. No, we're going too off the ropes with Bloodline because this is specifically Phil and.
If you let me bring it back, I'll bring it right back to this. But I'm saying we haven't seen Cody and CM Punk have a one-on-one feud. We saw it when they were younger with Cody and Drew. We never saw Cody and Jacob Fatu. We never saw Cody and Roman, Cody and Seth. That's what I'm saying. Over the last 5 years, we haven't seen what we saw on the Cody Vortex side, but on the Bloodline Vortex, we have seen it. Now for Sami, this sucks. I expected July 18th he drops the title at Saturday night's main event. I expected him to get at least a month, 30 days, 40 days, 9 days. Kind of a slap in the face.
I will say
he's lucky he got 9 days.
I mean, he's lucky he got 9 days, but 9 days is still a slap in the face of the guy.
Bro, I will say this: Punk and Cody did not need a championship. You know what I mean? Cody and Punk didn't need the strap. They're two megastars, dog. You know what I mean? They don't, bro. They did not.
I want to say this.
Said it. Anytime there's a title opportunity, I'll always be there. And a title opportunity popped up this past Monday, and Punk was there. Same thing he told Cody.
Yeah, but at the Tina,
that's why it needs it.
I want to say this. My fault. I want to say this real quick before we continue because it's heavy. It's heavy on the Punk and that whole vortex kind of thing. You guys mentioned Sami about him getting the shit end of the stick, and I disagree with that. I don't think 9 days was more than enough for him. I believe that this could be the beginning of something new for Sami. That 9-day title run, whether if it was 9 days or 9 hours, he proved that he could be in the main event picture. The company trusted him enough, whether if it was for a week or a day, that he could be that main event guy. So now that he proved that, now that he waited 20 years to be champion for a week, I'm very, very eager to see where Sami goes from here. If they play his cards right, Sami could go from the last good guy to the worst bad guy in the company. Just like we all talk about the Cody turn, this, that, and the third, Sami's just floating. Sami has the potential to be the biggest heel in the company. You have him obsessed with this title. You have him obsessed with being back in that main event picture. And that's how you keep Sami in the main event picture, by having him go against these stars. If they bring Sami back into that mid-card going against, I don't know, Tozawa or somebody, then they failed Sami. Then that 9 days was bullshit and it wasn't worth it. But you keep Sami there. You keep Sami there.
I will
no,
say
you don't. You don't.
No,
you throw Sami back in the mid card. Sami's not a main event player, guys. He's not. He's a guy that only Saudi Arabia cared to see win the title. Honestly, he should have lost it the Monday night after. Sami Zayn is not a main event guy. He doesn't have a main event look. He doesn't have a main event fan base. They're not cheering for Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn is not selling tickets. Okay? He's not selling tickets. No one's paying at SummerSlam to see Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes. But I guarantee you, since they made the announcement, tickets have sold since it's been Punk versus Cody. And it's just what it is. You know what I mean? It had to be Punk. You know why it had to be Punk? Because they weren't going to boo CM Punk in Chicago. But they would have booed Cody Rhodes because we want to boo Cody Rhodes. So, yeah, you take the belt off him. You throw him back down that mid-card thing. And every now and then you can pop up because we still got to go to Saudi Arabia every now and then. No one else cares for Sami Zayn. Until Kevin Owens is back, no one cares.
I will say this. I would say, when you get this passionate, it usually means you're wrong. Just like when he says Jey Uso was a tag team guy, but then he became an Intercontinental Champion, Royal Rumble winner, and still became World Heavyweight Champion.
That's your
how would the panel felt if Oba had cashed in the title match and beat Sami? If Oba would have beat Sami at SummerSlam, it would have been a walk in the park for Oba family, but I would have respected it. You know what I mean? It's same. Here's the thing, right?
Sami would have made Oba look like $1 million.
1,000%.
Doesn't put butts in seats. Thank you.
Listen, if we really cared about putting butts in seats, Roman, Cody, and CM Punk would never lose a championship ever in their lives, dog.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Putting butts in seats is not the end all be all for wrestling. It helps for main attractions.
But the thing is,
but that was the case, bro. If that was the case, these people would never lose the strap.
But the thing is, real quick, the reasons to me, he doesn't have what look does he need? He could go in the ring. He's a decent promo. Butts and he doesn't sell butts and seats. To me, that doesn't make sense. This isn't 1989 where it matters who's on the headliner of the card, especially with the WWE. The butts are in the seats regardless. Whether if we like the product or not, we're going to tune in. Whether if it's on USA or fucking Netflix, we're going to tune in because we're wrestling fans. Sami Zayn, to me, he should still remain in that main event picture. We see what he could do with the different characters he could play, whether if it's feeling oozy or more of a depressed person talking to somebody fucking planked on a piece of fucking backstage equipment. I just think Sammy, just earlier we were talking about Sheamus and Cuts and New Day and guys who's been in the E for a minute. Sammy to me so far has been a failed project, and they have the opportunity to make sure that the Sami Zayn project doesn't fail. That's just what same with Finn, and that's the whole different thing. But same with Finn. I feel like they're in that same tier.
Listen, listen, dog, and I agree with you. Yo, pull up Mike's comment that he posted. Even though my man's is right here on the panel with us, you cannot cheer for Darby Allin and not Sami Zayn, dog. Darby doesn't have the main event.
What? MJF called this guy on live television a school.
Yeah,
shooter.
You know what I mean. So it's like,
okay.
At the end of the day, let me get this off net, Ram. At the end of the day, even if Sami Zayn isn't your traditional main event look or world heavyweight champion, you still could have given him a world title defense against a mid-card guy. Agreed. To make him look like a formidable champion. They skipped that step completely. I never said he had to hold the strap for 6 months. And nobody on this panel was saying that he needed to hold the strap for months on end. One title defense, dog. One. If you would have given us one defense that Friday on
it legitimizes Sammy,
and then he loses the strap, because the thing is, Sammy could beat every single mid card guy under the sun. That's not the problem. That's not the problem with Sami Zayn's booking. The booking is whenever Sami Zayn goes against a main event guy, Sammy never seals the deal.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. And that's the thing. When Gunther was the world heavyweight champion, Gunther was not facing main event level guys for each and every single title defense. Gunther was facing mid-card guys with big enough names that they can pass it off for a title defense. There are ways that WWE has done this for years on end while defending. That's why Gunther has not had a big time title defense against anybody except CM Punk when he lost last year at SummerSlam. This is how they protect their guys. And it's possible to do so. You want to say he's not a main event guy? That is not a Sami Zayn fault. That is a WWE booking and creative problem as a whole. Listen, Damian Priest, he has a look of a traditional main event guy, being a former world heavyweight champion. But at the end of the day, when he held it for 4 months, that was a good title reign for him, and it broke up the cycle of the shows for a little bit. You say that, but when you do that, you put us in a rotation of 4 or 5 guys who can be world champion. You box us into who's world champion, and then we look at the same. You especially, you look at AEW and you go, "Oh my god, look how refreshing it is! All these guys can be world champion." Yeah, bro, we had the same thing back in the E, but you're quick to put them in a box and not give them the benefit of the doubt,
right?
Because Obafemi is your next world champion. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And ultimately, I'm not gonna let me get this last piece off, Mike. And here's the shittiest part about Obafemi being a world champion. He's inevitably going to fail his first run as a world heavyweight champion. He's gonna fail his first time being world heavyweight champion. And you know why that's fine? Because then grow into it and determine to see what makes a great world champion. Roman Reigns failed his first couple times as world champion in this company, but then he became one of the biggest box office draws. Seth Rollins, not a great world champion his first time. Randy Orton, not a first great world champion his first time. Cena and Batista, great first time world champions, and they held that belt with pride and all the other stuff. You're not a Batista guy, so you're a bona fide hater. So of course you neglect that. You know what I mean? But you have to be allowed to fail as a world champion in order for you to get your bearings and do it right the second time. Sami Zayn is already at the end of his career, basically at the end of his prime. And if you don't get the opportunity to at least get 2 title defenses out, you have individuals like you right now who are boxing in because they don't have the look, they don't sell tickets. WWE in particular is so big of a company, so big of a promotion right now that your men's isn't even your biggest draw right now in the company. You have 4 or 5 big men superstars that people go flock for, but honestly, the majority of the fans are going for Liv Morgan, Roxanne Perez, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Jade Cargill, Alexa Bliss. The women's division is carrying hard. Danhausen. You know what I mean? People aren't going for your traditional main event lookers no more. It doesn't work. And that's why they let the rocket on the Oba family's ass as fast as possible, because he's taking over immediately for Brock Lesnar. Immediately. We have, pull up Mark's thing now. Drew got 1 title defense against Sami Zayn, a perennial mid-card guy who could fill a main event thing occasionally.
And you fail to remember the fact that Sami Zayn beat Gunther at WrestleMania.
Yes.
For the mid-card belt, yes.
The Intercontinental Championship is one of the most defining belts in WWE history, because that belt told you at some point you were going to be world champion. Braun Breakers hasn't loaded yet. I felt that with Oba, we should have never put him in the King of the Ring gravity. He should have been in the Intercontinental title picture, just like Braun Breaker. Oba Femi beating Penta, as much as I hate to say that, and holding the Intercontinental Championship for a year was the right decision. But we have to do Lesnar. We have to get Oba in that spot. I get that. On the flip side of that, to defend this title defense for Sami, you literally could have had Sami defend the title, and you guys are going to hate me when I say this, Johnny Gargano. Sami Zayn could have been the guy to bring back Johnny Wrestling. We saw it in backstage segments leading up to Sami's title win. Even seeing it on that last SmackDown before Raw this week. Sami had that interaction with Johnny Gargano. Fuck it. Give him 15 minutes on Raw next week or whatever, and have him defend it against Gargano or somebody in that mid-card like Chano's saying. And then guess what? After he defends the title, CM Punk, come on out, hit the music, just like we did for Survivor Series in that same arena. And then CM Punk challenges Sami at Saturday night's main event, and he beats him at Saturday night's main event in Madison Square Garden. That's way better than poor Sami looking like a schmuck out of this, because now you're going to have fans that are going to say, well, I can't believe him in the mid-card because he lost the title in 9 days. But they did the same thing for the people that are themed after this episode, boys. Seth Rollins got a title opportunity against Roman Reigns. Same way as CM Punk did against Sami Zayn in a roundabout way.
I just want to say, I do agree with what everybody is saying in somewhat sense. I do think Sami deserves some type of time with the belt and prove to everybody he can do it in some sort of fashion. I think he was the guy you could have used to put over a lot of your mid-card talent just to have fun. But if your plan was to put the title on CM Punk, then why'd you let Sami win? There's nothing wrong with Cody Rhodes dropping the title to CM Punk on a Monday night, a week after having a triple threat match from Saudi Arabia.
And being attacked by Gunther backstage.
Right, being attacked by Gunther backstage. There would have been nothing wrong with that. I think people would have been more ecstatic for that. Except you ruin somebody's moment. You ruined somebody's moment for your selfish reasons because you were trying to protect Cody Rhodes for nothing.
I don't even think it was just to protect Cody.
And that's my only issue
Gunther
with it.
too.
And that's my only issue with it. And that's my only issue with WWE is that you use transition people. You make up this term transition champion, and there's no reason to have a transition champion. You can have Cody Rhodes versus CM Punk and just have Cody Rhodes just not at 100% because he got jumped by Gunther and CM Punk win. That's perfectly fine. And then have CM Punk say, I don't give a fuck. It was a title match. You should have
told you, Cody.
Let me ask you, gentlemen, this question then, because I'm a little bit on the opposite of what you say, Marcus, because I don't mind the transitional champion as long as it's done correctly. So is it a problem of the fact that it was only 9 days, or the fact that it was just one title defense that he lost. For me personally, I don't what if it was 9 days and he had 2 defenses, successful the first one and lost the second one, I'm fine. But I think we're all in an uproar because it's 9 days and he lost the first defense. That because again, just to me, transitional champion, in my opinion, I think helps the company, because I believe it was Channel who was saying it earlier. It's not the same rotation of big superstars. It's kind of like that Detroit Pistons championship. Every now and then there's a dynasty going and there's like a random underdog who
Detroit,
wins. And
Dallas.
yeah,
Cleveland,
yeah,
in
you
that
know.
sense, you know what I mean?
To be honest,
Yeah.
listen.
To be honest, I'll answer your question, then I'll dip out. I'll let you guys get back to it. I'm not even sure if it was the 9 days. I'm not even sure if it was because he lost the first title. It might have been because he lost to CM Punk. It might have been the way that they handled it. But everything seems like we gave you this because we don't want Cody to drop it to him yet. We don't want to have that match yet, so you got to do it, and that sucks. You didn't even give my man a warm up match. You know what I mean? You put him against the best of all time in his home. That's like fighting Mayweather's undefeated streak. You know what I mean? Goku, Super Saiyan God. Like there was no way. Everybody knew Sami was not walking out champion there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That was not going to happen. You put him in an unpredictable, not even unpredictable, a predictable environment, and it sucked. It sucked because you knew we were in Chicago, and the moment that fucking garage door came up and he did that stupid slow walk all the way out to the ring, it sucked.
Yeah.
And it took everything away from Sami. And I said to me, my biggest thing is the only person that ever got disrespected by the WWE by not getting his hands on that title ever again was Finn Balor. And now I think that's going to be Sami Zayn.
Mm-hmm. Well,
But ultimately,
let's while we have the founder here, let's get the founder more involved. Here's a good one from Rick. What do we think about this scenario? This gets you Oba and Lesnar in a Hell in a Cell, the King of the Ring winner tournament against the world champion.
I don't mind it
all over again.
Nah, I don't mind it because I don't, but I do because Brock isn't coming out SummerSlam with the world championship. You just know that's not happening. I do want to get Nick Ram to get his piece off. He's trying to get his piece off for a second now.
Back to it.
Get your piece off. I can tell you're wrong.
Okay. All I was to say was Marks was saying it wasn't fair that they put CM Punk in Chicago because you knew once CM Punk was in Chicago, he has to win the title because it's Chicago, and they would ride it there. That's Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia. That is Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia, guys. Sami Zayn in Saudi Arabia is CM Punk in Chicago. You do it for the pop, and that's it. That's all it is. Everything they've been doing lately in WWE especially is hometown pops recently. And that's what they're doing.
Nah, man. Listen, I respect your opinion. You know what I mean? I do respect it. But Punk didn't listen. Mike had a good point. This could have been Saturday Night Main Event. Sami could have got a cheap win off of anybody, dog. You know what I mean? And he brought up a really good point that nobody has spoken about in a minute. Gunther has been really protected. You know what I mean? Gunther's so protected to the point, and Cody's protected too. You know what I mean? Cody hasn't taken a clean pinfall loss.
I'll agree with that.
Cody has not taken a clean pinfall loss.
Sami.
And his first clean pinfall loss is a schoolboy roll-up, dog. You know what I mean? It wasn't even in a finisher. He hit a haluva kick out of nowhere. 1, 2, 3. You know what I mean? It wasn't even one of those. It was a roll-up. Gunther wasn't even involved in it. He got tossed out because Cody was trying to hit the crossroads on Sami. So it's like you can't give him the fence. Like you could have announced that the Pepsi Phil was gonna be there. You could have announced that he was gonna be in the thing, and then he comes out like, "Yo, Sami, me and you next Saturday Night Main Event." It could have happened, but instead now we're super cloudy, super muddied going into Saturday Night Main Event, and it's not a good feeling. The only way this comes out a good situation if Sami becomes the biggest dickhead heel.
Yep.
It starts taking heads. Yes, to be honest, Sam, if this is done 3/4 decently and Sami becomes one of the biggest heels on the planet, this could work. But this only works if the story finishes up with Sami as world champion one more time.
And just
And
to
it's
add
not
to
right,
Chano's
though.
point about Gunther being protected, they're protecting him so much that they took him completely out of the world title picture. Completely out of it.
Yeah.
Now he's going to be feuding with Nick Aldis probably, which is
Yeah,
great.
he-
don't
Sign me the
SummerSlam
fuck
I
up.
agree
But
that I'm
No.
that's
It'll probably be Cody and Gunther at Saturday Night Main Event.
number one contender.
You know what I
Aldis
mean?
screws Gunther.
Yeah, and they're going into SummerSlam. You know what I mean? But at least Cody became number one contender by beating Jey Uso, right? The CM Punk got the title match just by it being in Chicago. You know what I mean? It's like I get it. Not everybody's a huge Sami Zayn fan. I'm not a really big Sami Zayn guy, but I don't like when shenanigans happens, because we're on the same block of like 4 or 5 people. We still waiting for a LA Knight world title reign. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's somebody
Pick you
that's
up
I wasn't.
one eternity later.
You know what I mean? I'm not a big LA Knight guy, but at the same time, you're going to talk about people who are deserving of this world title. LA Knight's super deserving of this world title. Jey Uso was deserving of the world title, and he got it, even though it was a couple of months. Jey was over as hell. He was over like Rosa.
He was, yeah. When they could get the rights to Yeet back, as soon as the Yeet thing heated up, he was money. You know, that was it.
You know what I mean?
They're still making money off the merch.
Money in the Bank will be the most interesting thing to ever happen, right? Because at Money in the Bank, Roman has the protection of the bloodline, so you can almost assume that they're not cashing in on him, right? You know what I mean? If you bring the briefcase, it's gonna be like Austin Theory. Austin Theory was trying to catch the drop on Roman, but the Usos were there every single step of the way. You know what I mean? They was like, "What are you doing, dog?" They kept shoe flying him. It's like, get. You know what I mean? So you can assume it's gonna happen to the winner of Punk and Cody, and it's just a miserable situation, man. It is not a great look. It doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good. Even if Punk becomes a heel, it doesn't feel good, because we're gonna get the same Cody babyface promos going into this. To be honest, way to become a 4-time world champion by the SummerSlam, then losing the belts at Money in the Bank to whoever cashes it in. You know what I mean? Then he gets it back to become a 5-time champion. I want meaningful storylines for people, not revolving the championship. Seth just had a meaningful storyline with the Vision, even though it was half-assed. You know what I mean? Because they were trying to wrap it up to get to Roman, Seth. But I want to see meaningful storylines for former world champions. When Drew comes back, Drew's going to be in the title picture, because that's just how TKO and Triple H books. That's just how it is. But there's way more people I think is deserving of the Money in the Bank. I'd like to see Dom with the Money in the Bank, because Dom is somebody who can be world champion for 3 days and I would not blink an eye. You know what I mean? Because he's still young enough to do it again, and he's still on that apparatus of becoming a superstar. Like, there's guys you can do that to. But if the payoff's not worth it, it sucks. It absolutely sucks.
I want to talk about the flip side of this. The other match, Seth and Roman. Like the whole theming of our episode, the Step Brothers, the Shield Brothers. LA Knight, a guy we've been talking about for the last 20 minutes. You know, LA Knight cuts them up Monday night. Nitram, you can take, you know, I'll give you the assist here. Take this away and talk about LA Knight cutting these two up.
Not only did he eat them up, but you saw in Seth's face that he was like, damn, he got me. You know what I mean? When he sat there and did the whole brother gimmick where he was like, yeah, brother, we'll get the same beard, brother. We're going to go down there, brother. We're going to, because he's right. And he cut this promo about how guys don't deserve nothing. A guy who lost in the first round is now number one contender because he asked for it. The same night, a guy who doesn't earn nothing comes into his hometown and wins a title shot. The same night, he cuts this promo and pretty much addresses the issues with the company. LA Knight is next up. He's exposing them for what they are, and it's lazy. And LA Knight is saying it because he's doing great, because he said it back when 2 years ago. What were y'all great at? Because everybody was saying LA Knight. Yeah. You know what I mean? And he's right. Undeniable, LA Knight has been more over than Seth Rollins in the last 3 years. Undeniable. Through COVID, he was more undeniably probably the hottest star through COVID besides Bayley and Sasha Banks for WWE. You know what I mean? LA Knight went out there and made a statement, and the statement everyone heard. They're lazy. They're doing lazy reasons to give people title matches, and it's because people play politics and people do, good old boot licking. You know what I mean? And he went out there, and I mean, Seth's a good promo, but he made Seth look dumb.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
Seth didn't have
dumb.
Seth was out there. I'm sorry, Chan. Seth was out there speaking for quite some time and talking about Roman and opportunities. I'm like, bro, you had the second most opportunities. What are you talking about? Like LA
captain
Knight,
opportunity,
like LA Knight literally started as like a model in NXT or something, and
No, they brought him up to the main roster. He was crushing it in NXT. They brought him up. Vince wanted him to be a male model character, and that was.
I remember the male model character, and he's look, man, he's LA. Whether if you guys covered everything, man. Whether if you're an LA Knight guy or not, you can't deny the fact that LA Knight is over. You can't deny that. So I agree with everything you guys are saying.
Over like Grover, and the reason we don't got to go too much deep into the Seth Roman comparisons because LA Knight was right, and Aaron has a point. Everything that LA Knight said literally came true an hour later, with CM Punk getting a title match and winning the strap. And it's listen, I get it. CM Punk is over as hell. That man prints money, and it'll probably be a good wrestling match. But we
probably
in wrestling, you do want to see the big five being broken up, right? You want to see the unexpected champion, which is why when Samoa Joe won the AEW championship twice, it was like Joe's a guy who can carry the belt because he's done it on another stage. That's why when Darby Allin won, it was like, oh my god, they're so well deserving. I'm glad that he won the belt, even though it's from up. When Hangman won it, it was like, I don't think Hangman can hold it for a while, but I'm glad Hangman did it. When MJF won it all the second and third time, he lost it. He lost it in great spots and great moments. And that's something that WWE is not going to do. You know what I mean? If you're gonna have the bloodline have the world title with the other world championship, you have to do something new and innovative to keep people interested in the other world championship. You know what I mean? If you're gonna have people in the Cody Rhodes Vortex be world champion, you gotta have somebody in the world heavyweight champion be new and exciting. You know what I mean? You got to keep it fresh and interesting at least for one of your world titles. But we're gonna wrap this up. We will talk about all of this next week because we got to see how Raw unfolds, and we got to see how Sami Zayn, how he blacks out. You know what I mean? Yeah, going to Sami for tomorrow. That's to be an interesting watch. If there's ever a reason to turn into SmackDown, and we are gonna get into our main event question of the week, and we'll try to get this wrapped up in the next 10.
It looks like all the talking has been done. It's time for the main event.
All right, main event question of the week. If you had to decide who was going to be your world champion between Kenny Omega and CM Punk, who are you going with and why? I feel like the answer very clearly here is Kenny Omega, the ultimate good guy. I don't even need other reason than that. Mike's gonna go CM Punk. He's gonna go Pepsi Phil.
No, just because it's Kenny Omega from a wrestling standpoint, from a business standpoint. It's CM Punk. I can market CM Punk more than I can market Kenny Omega if I'm a promoter, if I'm an owner of a company. I love Kenny. That's not shade at Kenny. I could promote Punk more. He's a mainstream name.
He puts ass in seats.
I would take at this point, knowing the fact that both of these guys are on limited time, but Kenny is like, even though Phil's older than Kenny has less time because of his diverticulitis and everything that transpired. I think Punk, like, because of the fact that he's a marketable, I can put him in a suit, I can put him on television, but if I put Kenny Omega as my world title on a talk show, I don't know if those people are going to know who that guy is, unfortunately for him. Just that's the path he took. Now, maybe that's different or after these last few years, but for me, marketability, business standpoint, I got to put the title on Punk for that reason.
I agree with everything Mike said. However, again, agree with everything he said. Literally, great breakdown. However, I'm still gonna go with Kenny Omega. Just as I said earlier, man. Like the asses and seats thing, I get, but bro, it's 2026, man. You put a little fucking social media post, and you'll have people coming out from everywhere. Like, especially Kenny Omega in the States. if you're a wrestling fan who, much like myself, who never got to see Kenny during his heyday, you get to see him for a little $20, $30 ticket on an indie promotion, you're going to come see Kenny. So I'm going to be getting money out the wazoo, me and Kenny carrying my promotion. So I'm going with Kenny. But Mike had a great breakdown, though. I do agree with anything, but I am going with Kenny.
Mike, does it change your question if it's a brand new company?
That's in my mind. The question is not for WWE or AEW. This is a fantasy question where both of these guys are in the company together. They still have their pre-existing lore, right? Kenny goes to Japan. He has incredible matches with Okada, the Bullet Club, yada yada yada.
Okay, so my question for you would on the follow up would be: wouldn't Kenny make more sense because he's already bringing his core fan base over?
No, because CM Punk has a bigger core fan base in my mind, in my personal mind, because CM Punk was in WWE when WWE was the only dog in town. Kenny was wrestling in Japan. Not a lot of people were watching Kenny. You know, they were going back and watching Kenny matches. That's the thing. Like, that's the tough part. And that's my opinion, just like everyone has their own opinions about it. If it's a new company, the lore is attached. Everybody's still got the lore attached to them. I'm still putting the title on Punk because of the fact that I can put him on television. I can put him in different spots and people will recognize, hey, that's CM Punk. I know him.
I 100% agree with Mike. 100%. I'm choosing CM Punk. And I look at it from this standpoint. Kenny Omega made AEW, right? But they didn't break 1 mil until 1 mil Phil came.
Yeah.
They weren't consistent with it until CM Punk was there. They had their B show of AEW, the B show, outranking or getting right there with their top show.
I think
Punk
that was an addition.
Than a draw. CM Punk is a movement in pro wrestling, and I don't like him, but I think that his credibility is stronger than Kenny's outside in-ring talent.
Let me ask you one question. Do you think that was really CM Punk, or was the allure of CM Punk coming back to wrestling that helped him break the mill? I think it was more the allure that my man's wasn't wrestling for, what was it at that point?
7 years.
7 years? I think it was the fact, I agree with you. I think Phil is a superstar, but I think it has to do more with the fact that Pepsi Phil didn't wrestle in breaking news. Spelled breaking wrong, but that's fine.
Yeah.
Never turns his back on his savior, Kenny Omega.
That's a dig at poor Nitram, I think, because breaking, you know?
Yeah, he's about to break his own heart. But I think it was more the fact that it was like 7 years with no CM Punk in a wrestling ring that helped to it. You know what I mean? Because if CM Punk was still wrestling every year to that point, like every match, I think people would have came. I just don't. It would have been as big as a thing. Just like when CM Punk came back to WWE, it was a big deal because it was his first time back to WWE in like over a decade. You know what I mean?
But the momentum still kept.
That's what I'm saying.
That's the
yeah.
So
because
I agree that the allure of CM Punk, because I was at Friday Night SmackDown the night CM Punk returned on Rampage. The entire crowd was on their phones watching fucking Rampage during the dark match of Friday Night SmackDown. Okay,
listen,
that is for 7 years. Fans chanted CM Punk. For 7 years, they didn't chant Kenny Omega.
Wait. We're going back into this feud. Listen, going into a major PLE as champion, you don't need Sami Zayn to be a headliner when you have Roman Reigns as your opposite champion.
Or Cody.
You know what I mean? You can still do it. Sami Zayn can go in as your major world champion and still be fine because you have your other 5 matches that you fill with people who people are going to tune in for. You have Liv Morgan that people will tune in for a Liv Morgan match. You have Oberfemi who can fill in. If you was to book Sami Zayn as world champion going into SummerSlam, everything else going into SummerSlam will help that Sami Zayn match. We're forgetting when Damian Priest was world champion, Damian Priest was opening the show for PLEs. When Cody Rhodes first came, when Cody Rhodes was wrestling, you know what I mean? Who was the other world champion? Cody Rhodes was opening the show with WWE championship matches. It doesn't matter about if he's a champion for a major PLE. He can do it. If he was the major champion going to Money in the Bank and you have Roman Reigns as your other champion, your card is saved. A PLE or show is not going to tank because Sami Zayn is your world champion. There is nobody who's gonna go, I'm just gonna stop watching wrestling. It's just not gonna happen. If that was a reason to stop watching wrestling, we all would have stopped watching wrestling 15 years ago, and we would have never came back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It would have never happened.
When Jinder won the title, I would have stopped watching.
And when Great Khali became world champion, it would have never happened. But I'm gonna end my final thoughts with this, right? Because we almost hit that 2-hour mark. Nitram came back, so we threw a celebration. We got him some strip club shrimp. And we did things the right way. We gave Tino a little break because we know his last Thursday was stressful. So I'm gonna end it like this. Sami Zayn going into your major PLE as world champion does not hurt anybody. If anybody was gonna stop watching wrestling because there was a bad world champion, none of us would be wrestling fans as a whole. You know what I mean? There will always people aren't Roman Reigns fans. Mike is a big example of this.
I'm a Roman Reigns fan, but not
a bloodline guy. But if the bloodline was enough to keep Mike away, Mike would have stopped watching wrestling years ago. You know what I mean? And that's the same thing with there's not a lot of Cody Rhodes fans. But when Cody Rhodes is champion, we don't stop watching wrestling and tune back in the moment he lost the championship. Fandom doesn't work that way. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Think about the best show you've ever watched and a character died.
Mm-hmm.
Did you stop watching?
Yes.
No. Of course you did. You're weird. What show was it? Teen Wolf?
Walking Dead.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
I mean, it was a long show and it was like 8 seasons in at that point. At that point, you just gave
up. Botched that show so bad. Anyway.
Robert Kirkman, by the way, creator of Invincible. If you didn't know, The Walking Dead kept Invincible alive because how well The Walking Dead did. But yeah, you know what I mean? If people were ever going to stop watching wrestling because you're a world champ, you didn't like the guy as world champion, wrestling would have never survived. All right. But that to be said, we're gonna wrap the show up right now because I'm getting that red light. I'm getting that red beam light right now. I'm getting the founder, the voice of God, is telling me you don't gotta get off the show, but you don't gotta go to sleep, but you gotta get the fuck off the show. So Nitram, let the people know where to find you.
They can find me on Twitter at NITRAM_4SOTR. Dang, it's been a while. I used to have that down pat. That's NITRAM_4SOTR. Tweet me if you got a Switch too. I play online. I will battle you on Pokemon. I will play you on Rocket League. I got 2K. What's up? GM mode. Let's run it. Yeah, that's all I got.
Challenge is out there, folks. Challenge is out there.
The founder of Gaping Back Doors. Tino, let the people know where to find you.
Channel?
Oh, wait.
Oh, you're talking to me. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Wait. Oh, you want to be a smart ass? Marcus, run the clip. Run the clip. I hope it loads. Finally.
All right, folks.
On a Friday. Nice. Yo. Couple glasses real quick, baby.
I love that video because in the audio, she doesn't dance with me because she's like, my ass is wet. So I was like, oh, okay, bye. And then you see shake hands with her. So like that was
clean cap up.
That's the context of that video. But with that being said, you can catch me at King of Groove 16. That is on TikTok and Twitter. It was a fun episode with you guys. I look forward to next week. Peace out, y'all. Peace out.
Listen, the King of Groove for real. All right. Let the people know where they can find you, Stat Bro.
Listen, Sepro, what are you doing? Shield Brother, what are you doing to my title opportunity at SummerSlam? Listen, you guys know where to find me. You find me here on Thursday nights. You can also find me at MOWM_podcast. Also, if you happen to find a blue hair chick with wet ass, have her slide in Tano's DMs. I might expand on this conversation. We'll see if the boys want to hang out with me a little after hours. We might expand on this conversation. We'll talk. We'll see what happens. I'll see you guys on the next one.
Yeah, this was an interesting episode. NetRam is a hater. I forgot how much he makes me hate wrestling, but I love him anyway. You can find me absolutely nowhere. 4 sides OTR on X, and that's about it. I'm too cool for Instagram, guys, and I promise you. All I do is post AI slop of Power Rangers. I promise you, that's literally all I do. And Nick clips every single time I come across it. That's the only things I repost on social media. But you can find us on 4 sides of the ring and everything else. God bless. Nixon 5. We'll see you next Thursday.